District play begins coming up on Friday night for the Robert E. Lee Red Raiders as they take on the Horn Jaguars at Hanby Stadium. Hi again, everybody. Welcome back to Coach's Corner. The Red Raiders going to district play with a 3-1 record after a wild one on Saturday in Texarkana. Coach Darrell Piske is with us. Win that thing 38-37. It wasn't supposed to be a Saturday afternoon ball game, but glad it was as it turned out.
Yeah, it worked out. It was a pretty day, and the field had a little chance to dry. You know, they have natural grass up there, so I think they had between 7 and 8 inches of rain on Friday. So I think it was a good call. And that's the thing a lot of people don't realize when you're trying, because, you know, by Friday night it's just misting. And everybody thinks, well, why did the dummies move it to Saturday? But what you got to consider is if you wait till Friday night to make that call, looking at the forecast, talking to Coach Norton, you've got buses involved. You know, I think probably $12,000–$15,000 worth of buses, and if you drive up there on Friday night and it's still raining and too bad, you just wasted that money, and you got to come back again Saturday and somebody travel again.
Plus the safety of the kids.
Yeah, that's buses, right. That's right. So we tried to make it. Coach Norton and I talked earlier that morning, and finally about 11 he called me and said, "Hey, just based on what I see right now and stuff, we're going to need to move it to Saturday if we're going to play it." And of course, both of us felt like we needed, especially after the game the week before, we needed to get on the football field and try to get that taste out of our mouth.
And for folks who don't realize it, I mean, you know, it's not, these decisions are not made without some pain, because you're on a schedule,
that's
a
right.
Friday night routine right now, and playing Saturday afternoon sort of throws everything off too, doesn't it?
Yeah, typically, you know, we'd be working on Saturday and going home sometimes Saturday afternoon or evening, and you know, and then Sunday come in after church, whereas this week we had one day to do 2 days of work. So, you know, we had to come in early Sunday morning and just work till we was done. So, yeah, and Coach, you know, we're routine guys anyways. And when you throw that off, we all, you know, kind of get out of whack a little bit.
Did y'all work it all Saturday night when you got back? Or
well, no, by the time we got back, got the kids out and did all that, you know, it's 8:30, 9 o'clock and we got home anyways. And so we just thought we'd, you know, come up Sunday morning early and go to work and go home when we got finished.
All right, 38-37. There were 2 or 3 things that were the difference in the game, including a blocked extra point.
Yeah.
That turned out, point-wise, to be the difference in the game, right?
Yeah, it was. I tell you, really, it looked like two. My wife, she and I were talking about when we got home, whatever night it was, Saturday night, and they kind of run together now. And she, I told her it looked like 2 high school teams that don't normally play on Saturday afternoon playing football. But yeah, Amir blocked the extra point there, and
Amir Wilson.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, then at the end, you know, all we had to do is get the punt off, and the game's over, and we let them block the punt and pick it up. And thank God he didn't fall down a second sooner, and they kick a field goal. And negative part was the sun was on the scoreboard all afternoon, and none of us could tell how much time was left or what the score was. And it was unbelievable, the glare. I mean, really, you really couldn't see the time. I kept having to ask the official, "Hey, how much time's left in this game?" And so it is a lot different, but it's good. It'll get us used. You know, there may be a playoff game we got to play at that time.
Yeah, and then there was among the other strange occurrences after the block punt, one of your kids actually had the presence of mind to go get him and tackle him.
Yeah, that's right. Luckily, he didn't tackle him a little quicker.
Okay.
Because if they had a pretty decent little field goal kicker, and really if they'd have tackled him with 1 second left, he's in field goal range.
Yeah.
Really, he could have ran about 10 yards and fell down and been in field goal range. So luckily, the kid tried to score. We had 8 seconds left.
Right.
You know, we talked about you know, going ahead and running a play on that 4th and 2 and try to get the first down, but that gives them the ball on our 40-yard line, and I just watched them complete about 5 fade routes. I didn't want them to touch the football again.
And you should be able to get a punt off,
You
right?
would think, especially, you know, we lined up and then called timeout and saw how they lined up and talked about it and made the kids understand, hey, they're not putting anybody back, so all we got to do is kick it over their head and the game's over. Just get it off, and then they block it. And, yeah, you know, that puts a lot of years on this old guys. Aged a lot in that 8 seconds.
You know, I'm sure you probably talked to John King about this, but Longview actually in a state semifinal game about 3 years ago, I think Denton Geyer, they had a punt blocked. I mean, they're trying to win, on the verge of winning a state semifinal game, had a punt blocked.
Oh yeah, those special teams, and we work
hard
on
the game.
That's right, and that's what, you know, that's good for the kids to learn a lesson. I mean, it's hard on us, but you know, we work hard on special teams and focus on that, and trying to make all these young kids understand that that's not, you know, you're not being punished by no special teams. That's something you need to take pride in, because that wins and loses games.
Right.
And so it worked out to be a good lesson. It could have been a bad lesson, but it worked out to be a good lesson that we could teach them.
2 other wild plays that were made. I'm sure we'll see them on the video here momentarily, but Bryce Wilkerson had a 90-yard kickoff return.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And Brandon Durman, the linebacker, the junior linebacker, had a 55-yard. Was it a pick six?
Yeah,
or
he picked
scoop
it.
And score?
No, he picked it off. He
Okay.
undercut the receiver and did a good job. And then somehow or another bumbled and stumbled his way to the end zone. He'll be wanting to play running back now. I mean, I'm glad he picked it off and scored. But now I know he's going to ask to play running back. But no, he did good.
That's great. So all that, and then Zach Hall had another. Talk about, I mean, your sophomore quarterback is 4 games into his high school football career. How did he play?
Yeah, he did good. He did good, and that's the thing is, it's a process getting all this put together and
right.
figuring everything out and getting him comfortable. The O-line, and the running backs, it's going to take all of them to pull him along, and he understands that. But he's quick. He runs the ball good. The muddy field didn't seem to slow him down too much. And really the bootleg where he ran around the end, I really thought it was a 5-yard loss. And next thing I know, the ref's holding his hands up, touchdown. I didn't know how he got around the edge. But, it's going to be good. He's going to make mistakes. He threw a pick, and he actually made the right read. He just threw it late. And the receiver worked flat instead of working back towards the line of scrimmage. And so it worked out to be an interception. But all in all, I thought he did a pretty good job.
What were the field conditions like?
Really for 7 or 8 inches rain, whatever they had, it was pretty good. It was wet off to the edges, and especially down towards in the red zone, down at both ends. It was pretty wet, but the middle held up pretty good. Really, it's a nice field. It is. It's good turf, had good drainage. You could see the side where it drained pretty good, and it held up pretty well.
All right, the Red Raiders win it 38-37. They're now 3-1, heading into the district opener on Friday night. Let's take a look at some of the video of what turned out to be a pretty eventful, pretty wild non-district game between the Red Raiders and the Texas High Tigers in those burnt orange jerseys right there as we started off.
They didn't look like UT this weekend. This team defense just swarming the football. Derman did a good job of meeting the linebacker in the hole there, and then his teammates came and aided in the tackle there. You'll see Derman Field meet the little slot back whamming inside. I think we gave up something like, this is Tavon Wesley here. We gave up 20-something yards, and then in 6 plays they had 176 yards, and that was on those fade routes and 1 post route. So, if we could stop the long ball, then I thought the defense played pretty well. Tavon makes a good cut here. O-line does a good job of, getting movement.
Nice hold.
Amir walling that guy off allows him to make that backdoor cut there.
And when you say Amir, remember he's playing both sides of the ball still.
Yeah, and this is Bryce right here at that inside receiver spot. But Amir really, he's doing a good job, and we're trying to be smart where we use him, how we use him. But until we get weeks back, and that's Zach did a good job drifting, being patient there. Line did a good job protecting. He was able to find Bryce.
How'd the guys react to the, after you get all geared up for a Friday night ball game, which, by the way, now we get, that's a little more close-up view of Bryce.
Yeah, that's right.
How'd the players react to the change?
I thought they did a pretty good job, for a bunch of teenage boys that probably had something better, they thought to do on Saturday than that. Now, this is Michael Dorsey here, and this is just exemplifies the effort we're getting. He's on the back side of the play. He drops to his, this is the next play where he does that. He's play side there. He does a good job making the tackle there, but the one I'm talking about, you'll see in a second, he's backside, and he ended up causing that fumble we got down there. Good job, good angle, and Desmond did a good job forcing it right there, so pretty much teamwork how it's supposed to fit. Now here's the play where he's backside. He's going to take his pass drop, try to wall number 2, and then if you'll watch, he continues all the way across the field, and he's the guy right there that causes the fumble. So that's pretty good hustle.
Yeah, it is great hustle. He had to run 30 yards
to
make
that's
that
right.
play,
That's right. And really, he's not Johnny Rabbit, so he had to be hustling to get there.
This is a close-up view of that, right?
Yes, sir. Here he comes in the picture right there. Hat on the football. That's a big turnover too right there. Anytime you can get it down there deep.
You wound up getting 2. Of course, Derman's pick 6 was
Yeah,
the other turnover, but 2 of them in the game.
Again, this is Zach right here. This may be that bootleg I'm talking about. No. Option. Does a good job, but if you'll look, you'll see it. Bryson Parker, centers 50. He's working all the way downfield, staying on his block, and that allows Zach to score rather than just getting it down to the 2 or 3. See Parker's on that linebacker there, and that's the one Zach, and that's the lineman 12 yards, 14 yards downfield blocking.
Back on defense.
Tristan Taylor, right now he's at the nose guard. Might have overwhelmed that center a little bit on that one.
He's been a rock for you inside. I mean, you can make a case for he's been the MVP of the defense.
Oh,
so
yeah,
far,
yeah. He's been very consistent. He's strong, and he works hard. That's what I like about him. He's a good senior leader. He's out there every day just getting after it. It's Jordan Devers here at safety, coming up making a big play on a little tunnel screen. I'm thinking there's a big 3rd down. 3rd and 7 right here. Hold them to a field goal. But if you look, he's coming outside, and you got Gaines and those guys coming inside. So everybody's starting to take the right angles, and that's going to help us. Here's old Desmond Dunn on defense. Does a good job coming up and make the tackle, especially when he's apex like that, in between those, the tackling that outside or inside receiver. He's got to make his read and be right and get there, because otherwise he can get pinned inside, and he's our contained guy.
Who are your starting at linebackers right now? Because you got so many.
Let's see. Brandon Derman. Here's Tristan Taylor again. Brandon Derman and Dorsey on that inside, and then we roll Matlock, Gaines, and Desmond on the outside.
And they're all playing pretty well.
Yeah, that's right. There's Tristan again making a great play.
Wow.
Marquiston Williams here.
Now you're playing. You said you were playing him both as a slot receiver and as an outside guy.
Yeah, he didn't play much outside last week. He'll play more of that this week probably, but we had to start mixing him in on the outside. You know, we had DeAndre out this week, and so we'll get him. Hopefully, we'll find out, I guess, today if we get him back this week. You know, we got to have some vertical threats out there on the outside. This is Zach. I believe this is the bootleg here. Yeah, the back was a little tight, so he knocked our pulling guard that's supposed to block that lineman.
And you couldn't tell whether he scored or not.
No, really, I thought you look at the angle, and it looks like he's fixing to get a 5-yard loss. This kid comes off the edge unblocked because our backside guard gets knocked down. Rendon gets knocked down right there, and so that guy's unblocked, and I thought it was a loss, and now all of a sudden, next thing I know, Zach's around him, and the ref's holding his hands up. He's got pretty good speed.
So what are you going, no, 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 yes, yes? Is that what you're doing?
That's one of those. That's one of those. Here's the kickoff return with Bryce, which, you know, we had a couple of these that could have went to the house earlier in the game, but we had, you know, a couple of guys not carry out their assignments. And that's where they got to understand. We got threats back there. If we'll just carry out our blocking assignments, not get lazy, this can happen more often than not. That's why so many people don't kick it deep today, because you got guys like back there like Bryce, and everybody's got them. It's just a tighter angle of it.
You can see the field a little tore up.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And that's in the middle where it was really good.
Looking for the wall, got a wall there, and then beat the kicker.
Yep.
That's all she wrote, wasn't it?
Beat the kicker, and then didn't get caught. That's the thing, so many people's going to that pooch kick now, or squib kick, to keep those guys. Here's Derman's running back play. Did a good job dropping hook curl, picked it off, then he makes a good little cut there.
He's chugging. He's chugging. Touchdown.
He survived it.
All right. Way to go, Brandon. He was one of those sophomores last year who got thrown into
the
fire.
That's right. That's right. So, he's getting better and better.
And survived it well. Played well.
Yeah.
Now he's kind of become kind of leader on this group team.
He's doing good.
Good for him. That was a 55-yarder, by the way. At least that's what the looks like the official number was.
Another
right?
Tavon highlight. He makes a good cut here. Physical run, picks up yards after contact there. Still got a lot of things fixed, but they're getting better. That's what he gives you, is a big old strong. Of course, that Banks kid now is going to be the same type deal, physical runner.
Is Marquand Jones out for the year?
Well, we don't really know yet. He's got that collarbone, and we're waiting to hear. Zach makes a good read there.
There you go.
It's down to about the 2. I think this is on that go-ahead score. And then you look, you got Trent Cooper snapping the ball, and Trevor Carr holding the ball, and Chris Bloss kicking the ball, and those extra points are pretty critical.
I was going to say, you haven't missed one this year.
Oh, no, don't say that.
I know. That's like famous last words, but they've been good, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. The first one, I don't know how it went through, and I don't know what happened, but it was pretty ugly, but it went through. But, yeah, so far he's done good.
Yeah, I didn't mean to jinx you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Friday.
All right. Let's a closer look at it. Zach had 3 touchdown runs Saturday afternoon. I keep wanting to say Friday night, but that's not the case. Day game because of the rain. There were a number of East Texas games that were moved because of that, and you get through the game and you get a win, 3-1. When it all started out, when you looked at the standings, obviously you don't want to get beat 44-0 by your crosstown rival, but the big picture.
Yeah, that's
somebody told you 3-1 at the beginning. Would you have taken that?
Well, that was our goal that we'd talked about. Coaches talked about. Thought 2-2 might be realistic, but 3-1 was the goal. And yeah, you know how those rivals go. If you're going to be 3-1, you just soon lost to somebody else and beat John Tyler. But they played a great game and we didn't. And they beat our tails. But yeah, 3-1. I mean, you got to be excited about that from where we were to where we're heading.
What's through non-district? Is there anything that's been a huge pleasant surprise that you didn't expect?
Really is, and I say it every week, and probably get tired of me saying it, but it's just like the other night. We got down 14 in the fourth quarter, and there wasn't any panic. There wasn't any. There was then we run the kickoff back and do some other things and end up winning the game. And they block a punt there at the end and have a chance to win it, but our guys keep hustling and go tackle him and. Just the not give up attitude's been what I've been most pleased with. And
that's the second time, because that happened against Lufkin too. Only that happened later in the game, where you'd had the lead and they actually came back and led you.
Yeah.
And both times you've responded.
Yeah, that's right. And so that's a good sign. Anytime that we can get them just battling till the end, that's what we try to tell them, is kind of like in life. You just show up every day and go to work and do the best you can. At the end of the day, the results take care of themselves. If you did the best you could do and gave 100% every day, then usually you're going to be all right.
Has there been a point in this preseason, not preseason, this is not the NFL, non-district, where you felt like a light went on with these kids and they started thinking, maybe we really can? Was it the Lufkin game, for instance, and the way that was handled, that maybe the light went on and all of a sudden they started believing in themselves?
Yeah, I think they believe in themselves. I think it might have went on too bright after the Lufkin game, if you look at the performance first half of the John Tyler game, but that's what they've got to understand, and we've got so many young ones out there that's what they got to understand. You can believe in yourself and be confident and all that stuff, but still understand that I got to work my tail off every day to get better, or I'm going to screw this thing up. And so, getting those young ones, I think they had that success against Lufkin. Everybody thought they were the greatest thing since sliced bread. I can't say whether it did or it didn't, but it could have affected them inside, and that could have led to what we needed, was a good tail kicking from John Tyler, even though
they obliged you too,
they were happy to give it. And I didn't want it. I'd have just been happy if we'd have done without it. But, sometimes it all works out for a reason, and all we can do is just show back up. I thought the kids did a good job responding this week and not having any left over from last week. And then, like I say, to face adversity again and then to just keep battling and rise up above it.
Are you thinking that maybe you'll get a couple of guys back this week?
Yeah, Weeks is going to practice in full pass.
Matthew Weeks,
big tackle. We're pretty high on him going in. He practiced last week non-contact stuff, and He's been released. Patrick Udofia, the safety, the kid that broke his leg in the spring, he got fully released a few weeks ago, and now he's practicing in full pads today for the first time. So we're excited, to get those guys back. DeAndre's hamstring, he's going to be fine. We're just cautious with him last week. Really wanted him ready for district versus that last non-district game. So I think we're going to be, outside of a few little bumps and bruises, pretty near 100%.
From a depth standpoint, you pulled up 2 more 10th graders this past week too, did you not?
we got some injuries and had some guys, weren't using last week, so we had to bring up Tyreek Grayson and little Mason Parker, and really they're going to be good ones. And we had to have them. I don't like if those guys aren't going to be on the field playing a lot. I just soon leave them on the JV and let them play every Thursday night where they can continue to improve and that group can continue to have success. And so that'll be a week-to-week thing. But that last week we had to have them, and poor little Mason got thrown in their trial by fire and did a good job. Was in good position. The kid just bigger, better athlete than he is right now, and was able to make a play on him on a fade route. But he did a good job. Was in position. That's all you can ask of those little guys.
All right, so you're 3-1 now. You got Horn. They're 4-0, and they look like a really good team. They beat JT this past week at the stadium and got the Lions pretty good that night. You obviously had scouts there. What impressed you about Horn?
Well, the scouts was me. I mean, I was sitting there looking at it myself.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
We were off Friday night, so we drove over and watched it. And they're just that quarterback. We knew last year, really going in, we felt like them and Longview was probably the top 2 teams in the district, and had to be the 2 favorites. And really, I think Mesquite Horn's got a chance to play with them, just because I knew how good they were last year, and they got them all back, and their JV was really good last year, so they've got some good kids coming up from that. But really it's that quarterback along with, they got some receivers that can go, running back can go, but that quarterback's what makes that thing roll on offense.
Coach, it's been 3 years since this school has won a district ball game, so talk a little bit about getting over that hump and kind of breaking through, and this is your first opportunity to do that.
Yeah, really, and it's just about, it's every week. And like I say, you've probably figured it out now in a year and a half. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but to me, it's always more about yourself than it is your opponent. And so that's really what we got to focus on, is just trying to be as good as we can be when we get out there on Friday night. And then, getting that mental part, which I'm getting excited about it because we're getting there. And that's the part about just keep battling, never play, no matter what the circumstances. I just keep fighting, and eventually that guy can have you on the ropes, but you keep fighting, you might throw a punch and knock him out and end up winning the match. So that's where I feel like the big strides have been made, is just on that part. But as far as the district wins, they're going to come, and there's going to be a bunch of them come here. They're going to start hopefully this year, but just those kids showing up every day and getting after it and getting better. Horn's a great football team. I mean, it's going to take a great opportunity. And if we don't turn the ball over, though, I think we got a chance against anybody. And so 2 things: don't turn the ball over and play the fade route, and we'll be in a lot of football games.
And their quarterback's kind of Destry White is his name, kind of a double threat guy, isn't he?
Oh, big time double threat. I call him Mr. White. After a few, year and a half I've seen him play, but no, he's really good. He's a big physical kid, and I think you'll see, on Coach Holmes' show that they had him a few times, and he just broke their tackles. So he's that strong of a runner. But he throws the ball good, and of course they got skilled kids out last year when. Pre-game was going on. Coach Robertson and I were sitting out there looking, and it looked like a college team over there, and so they've got the guys to get it too, but he's the main guy. And
the rest of the district, what do you think? Having not scouted everybody, what you're hearing, like for instance Longview, what do you think?
Well, Longview's Longview. I didn't have to scout or hear. I know what Longview's going to be like. Coach King and those guys every year, it's going to be a dogfight, and they're going to be a great football team, and they've got talent. Looking at North Mesquite, they're 4-0, and somebody else, Rockwall, I think, is 3-1, and Heath is 4-0, I think, and of course Mesquite Horn's 4-0. So every week,
the Mesquite's 2-2, and they played a pretty tough schedule.
Yeah, that's right. So every week you look in there and you go, man, I was kind of hoping our district could be down one year, but that's not going to happen. But that's good. That's the way you like it, because then when you get in the playoffs, you're not just a one and done kind of deal. Your district prepares you. The guys that get out have a chance to win some games in the playoffs.
Does it look tougher in some ways, more balanced this year than maybe even last year?
Yeah, it really does. It really does. Last year I was pretty disappointed that we didn't get in last year, and of course, we didn't play well enough to get in. But looking at it this year, I feel like we're much improved and going to be a tough out if we don't turn the ball over and play the fade route. But you look at the district, and heck, it's going to be a battle every week.
Let's talk about kind of give a shout out to some of your coaches. You made several hires during the summertime, and I guess those guys are getting acclimated. Just talk about some of the new faces on the staff.
Well,
they've been on the job for a few weeks.
Yeah, and really it's a holistic thing, with the new and the old. But Coach Strickland and Coach Curbo, I think they're the two. Now you're gonna make me leave somebody out again. Curbo and Strickland over there on the defensive side. Let's see, Coach Williams. Oh, and Coach Hooser.
Yeah, can't forget him.
No, can't forget him. Those three coming over, and then Coach Williams, Coach Reed, two old-timers that's been here and been through the glory days here. And so they've done a good job defensively, just coaching their tails off. And then, offensively, Coach Barnes and Jernigan, two experienced guys, rehire kind of guys that brought a lot of experience to us. I'm sure there's somebody I'm leaving off on the offense, but
Wasn't your new strength coach, too?
Oh, yeah. Compton's making a big difference. And, again, really is making a big difference when I watch him working with the girls' programs, doing stuff that fits them versus, if I was setting it up, they'd be squatting and benching and stuff like that. But, no, it's been pleasant. It's been good. It's just got to continue to get better. We talked about it before, as soon as you start thinking it's all great and don't keep working, it can go bad any moment. And of course, we got a game to remember that by.
Yeah, and these district games, just, there's so few of them, really. I mean, it's a kind of a sprint from here on out.
Yep.
6 games and your whole fate. I mean, you're starting over. Basically, you're 0-0 now, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. We talked to the kids on the board. Your district starts. Everybody's 0-0 right now with what matters. You get 3 wins, there's a chance you're going to get one of those playoff spots. You get 5 wins, you might share the district championship. You get 6, you're district champs. So, it's time Friday night to see where we're going to end up in that process.
And as you get ready just for this sprint now, is this kind of call this the second season really in a way? I mean, the non-district 3-1, and now this is kind of the second phase now, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, you got to carry over. You got to use the non-district to improve so that you're the best you can be when you get to district. And that's what we tried to do, is find areas, and we're still doing some tweaking, with just 4 non-district games. So we're still doing a little bit of tweaking. Offensively and defensively, but hopefully we're where we need to be to get ready to try to compete with Horn on Friday night.
Finally, what do you expect out of this ball game? What kind of game do you look for?
Well, it's going to be a tough one.
You hope not 38-37.
Yeah,
right?
well, I don't mind.
38, as long as you got 38,
if we got
right?
the 38, I don't care if it's 100-99 as long as we got that big number. But, no, it's going to be a physical game.
Yeah.
I watched them play JT, and they're knocking heads around. It's very physical. Scoring-wise, heck, I don't know. Hopefully they'll turn the ball over a bunch and we won't turn it over any, and they'll give us a chance. But, no, I think it's going to be a good game. Kids are going to be ready. They're going to play hard. And, like I say, if we don't turn it over and we defend the fade route, I think we've got a chance to compete.
All right, that game is the district opener and is coming up on Friday night, 7:30. It's at E.H. Hanby Stadium. The campus, of course, actually on the campus of Mesquite High School, but it's the Red Raiders and the Horn Jaguars. And, again, the first of 6 of these district ball games to get an opportunity to get one of the 4 playoff spots the Red Raiders deserve and need your support Friday night. Again, a 7:30 kickoff at E.H. Hanby Stadium in Mesquite as the Red Raiders and the Horn Jaguars open up district play for 2013. For Coach Piske, I'm Bill Coates. Thanks for joining us.